Thank you, Ellen. I was watching Jay's video with you, and I remember when he was a student, like messing with bananas and stuff, and we thought he was crazy, and he still is crazy. But he's wonderfully crazy because he keeps on doing it. And I was so struck when he said the comment about being a hippie father. And I had this moment, if you've ever seen Ratatouille, remember where he's sipping the soup and he's like, oh my gosh, childhood moment. When he was saying that, I realized that my daughters here are the reason why I began to make art. And let me tell you why. It's because I was very curious about this phenomenon as a father. You go out, or a mother, or anyone going out, you buy something back, you hope they'll like you better. And I was in Denmark, and there was this toy, and they were very small at the time, so they don't remember this, but there's a toy, a beautifully designed wooden toy with little blocks in it. You would hit it with a hammer, and they would come on the bottom, and you flip it around. Beautiful, modern design toy. Elegant. So I bring it home, and the first thing they do, they plop it down, they put their doll on and make it a bed. I said, no. It's a Danish design toy made out of wood by Danish. No, this is a bed, But you're often humbled by that moment where children can see things differently, and also young people can see things differently. So I've been away from a college for a month and a half, and now I now remember why education is so important, just being in this room with all of you. So thank you for that. And especially because of Ellen. Because as a freshman at MIT, I was totally lost, completely lost. And I thought, oh, I'm not going to make it. This is such a confusing thing. Everyone's so smart. They're fast. What will I do? And I remember Ellen took me under her wing. And I felt, maybe I can make it someday. And so the touch of one professor, one teacher makes a huge difference. So thank you, Ellen, for a moment. Huge difference. Well, by the way, this was a great person at MIT who passed away in his 50s, by the way. His name was Bill Mitchell. He was the Dean of Architecture and a really amazing, brilliant visionary. If you haven't read his books, please Google his name. He wrote a book every year, prolific writer about design and technology. And I went to his service at MIT campus, and one of his grad students said that Bill would walk into a room and say this phrase, blast away at it. Get it done. Very Star Trek sort of themed, of course. But that's a phrase I bring back to myself, and every day, every morning, do I have the strength to blast away, get it done? It's a question we all ask every day, I believe. And when I was president of RISD, I would have all these interesting moments. And I know your president here, Kim Bottomley, I didn't met her before, but there was an inauguration for the Brown president, and I have my own sort of like hashtag KBOT sort of moment. I said, yeah, I'm with her, I'll note that Wellesley, excellent school. Very good. Just as a background, I started in computer science and wandered a lot. And I wandered into the art field. And I began seeing things. This is actually a fake Bridget Riley by a man named A. Michael Knoll. He was at Bell Labs, one of the first computer artists. And when I saw his thing, I wrote a postscript program to understand it. And I remember like my design teacher saying that was kind of weird. Like, what are you doing? What is that thing? I said, well, it's code. And code can create images. And this is the 90s. So what does that mean has been a question I've been asking. But not only that, how do you cross things together, like the banana and the keyboard, or the peanut butter and the chocolate? Nice combination. And so I've been always making things. In the 90s, I made things for the web like this. There were dynamic graphics back when Java first came out. Before Flash came out, I was just making things for different corporations. And I've struggled to understand what it means to make on the computer. Because making on a computer is different from making a painting. You don't get dirty, and you are in your head usually. And so the romantic notion of the artist is lost in the computer often. And so I've always tried to find how to create that moment. This was an exhibition I had in Paris, where I made 7 projections about what's inside the computer's mind. And I've tried a lot of things in industry, experimenting with graphics to get attention to the space of computers and art. And it's been interesting on some occasions because what happens is people look at this kind of work as wow, but not oh. Two different frames. Wow was like, whoa, never seen that before. Oh was like, oh, it's moved me. How do you move people? It's been a question I've been trying to ask in this making. When you think of the word technology, according to Google Define, what's interesting is that if you look at the usage of time of technology, only post-1950s did it become used more often in books in this case. And if you look at the origin of the word technology, you have the word art, which is pretty interesting. And I love how if you look at the word art and look at its usage over time, it's been constant, but the root to the word art is art. Isn't that great? So people say, I don't get art. So we're not supposed to get art. It's art. So computer scientist recursion, right? Of course. And I've been always looking for people, teachers, whether it's Bill Mitchell, having the fortune to meet Ellen. This was a teacher I had for a long time. Her name was Red Burns, who passed away last year. And if you don't know her work, I urge you to look up Red Burns, because she was a leader of something called the New York University Interactive Telecommunication Program, which was a remarkable organization that crossed art with technology, with emphasis on art. So if you haven't seen it, it's amazing work, because Red was neither an artist nor a technologist. She was a community organizer, and she had one belief, and the one belief is that people matter. It's a very simple thought, but people matter. And so one of my favorite phrases she would say is, think of technology as a verb, not a noun. It provides the tools, creative people provide imagination. So her view was always people-centric. And I, as someone who grew up in technology, grew up in art, never really recognized that. For a long time, I was so into the work, but the work is in the world. It's in the world of people. And I've been so focused on time for so much of my life, like time, you guys are all just spending time together, there's time. Time is always running out. It's the one thing you're always aware of. It's difficult. When you're younger, you don't notice it. When you're older, boy, you notice it every day, like that time right there. And I'm a student of time and community and spaces. And I find that wherever you go in the world, just look at the emergency exit sign and all will be revealed. For instance, this is in Chicago. In Chicago, they know if there is fire, you must run away from it. Whereas this sign is like in Miami. It's like, oh, there's a fire. Okay, I'm going. It says, okay, I'm going. Also, this is in Paris. They know how to book. It's like, run, with your life. It's a good sign. This one here is from, are they from Georgia here? It's very hip. It's like they're dancing down the stairs. Woo, I'm going, here we go. And also, but I stopped taking these pictures after I was in Denmark, and I saw this sign. And, Denmark, home of Kierkegaard, existentialism. I was like, it's like, are you looking at me? And so that stopped that venture. But time, how we use time, how we spend time. And I'm lucky to have a mentor who's still alive, Mitz Kataoka, who I met in my 20s. And he has this way of looking at the world. It's a little bit dark, but very powerful. He talks about your life is lived in 4 quarters. So he says, John, your life is lived in 4 quarters, 0 to 25, 25 to 50, 50 to 75, 75 to 100. And he says, John, don't forget, most people don't make it to the 4th quarter. Like, whoa, And then he says, and don't forget, the 3rd quarter, your body falls apart. So he told me when I got the role as president of RISD, he said, make the best use of your 2nd quarter, John. Don't waste it. Do something with it. And so I was in my earlier 40s when I became president of RISD. And when I became president of RISD, I did all kind of weird things, like the banana thing. Different than banana and Play-Doh. But I was trying different things to learn, because artists get their hands dirty to learn. So the first thing I did as president of RISD is I realized we had admitted a bunch of students. And says, I will call the top 100 students. I'll call their homes. Why are you going to call their homes? You can't do that. I'll try it out. So I called 100 students, And they thought I was a phone prank. So, so I found this on College Confidential. Who's this calling? I don't know. What does this mean? Is this a marketing? Who is this person? Is it really president? And I found someone commenting. It was an automated message, it didn't sound like my name was inserted into recording. Hello, Jason. Yeah. It was really whatever. But and I did it. And when I did it, what really humbled me is I discovered one common thread. And it wasn't the joy of finding someone who was happy. It was the sadness of finding someone who couldn't go to RISD because our financial aid packages were so poor. So I was like, whoa, this is really bad. So I spent most of my time at RISD focused on scholarships, financial aid. We quadrupled that because of this moment. So artists learn through learning, failing, making mistakes. And I really felt that. I found this last night. Also, I loved that moment when a student gets into the college. So I had a Twitter display in my office that would code on RISD. And I would see this wonderful anxiety happen. I found out from RISD tomorrow. Lord help me. Freshman decision lists have gone out. Get ready. And then this moment is like jackpot day. Because what you see is these letters like, oh my gosh, it's coming. This day is getting so bad. And then you see this outpouring of this person, Shazam, And it's like, my friend got her, God bless her butt, It's outpouring. And so that moment, I believe, is that moment you got into Wellesley. It's just this magical moment that education gets to do. A great institution gets to do that for people and their families. And so I spent most of my time at RISD documenting and being part of that, whether it was on the freshman move-in day, show up in a T-shirt, move people in. And it was fun because I got to see that moment of people arriving in college. And I was like the campus photographer, because these things work out okay. Blogged a lot, just had a great time with all the students because they showed me how to think about the college. And I'd be so amazed by the environments they would make to think in. Very important. People who make things need to make the environment in which they think in, because it's a sort of inspiration. It is a moment of consilience with the creative environment. And I would just kind of pop up with photo. Don't take my picture. But I was take a picture sometimes. And it would be weird because I would be moments where like barnacles, what is this doing here? This is randomly, in random places at RISD. I would find a fish on the lawn. What does 36 mean? I'm not sure. So there'd be these moments of mystery. And the mystery moment is the wonderful moment that artists feel completely comfortable in. That mystery moment. They're very okay with being in that ambiguous state. Or like this person. This is like a naked person with a medicine box, some microbe. So these kind of moments you see and you think, those artists, they do that weird stuff. But I want to note that these artists are not thinking that way. They're not trying to entertain you. They're trying to understand the world. And when they understand the world, they break it down and try to understand it again. And they do it with passion. Every serious artist is seriously committed to what they're doing. It's not fun for an artist to do this work. It is passion. So I urge you, when you talk to artists, look at that frame. They're scientists of life, and they're looking for life. And then sometimes they help us. So again, to know more, I had this site with my assistant, Marina Mihalakis, schedule appointment now. So I want to see more students. And so any student at RISD could set a schedule appointment with me by clicking this button. I repurposed a hair salon appointment system. So you could buy a 10-minute appointment for free, of course, to just talk to me. And I would just talk to so many people because I realized that the online method was not an effective way to communicate. So if you're a mathematician, the shortest point between 2 points is like a line. But the same thing, a straight talk works very well. So I began to meet so many people one-on-one or one-on-four that would come to my office to help me understand what it means to make art, make design, try to make a difference. And that was a lot of selfies, too. A lot of fun. And it was them who told me that my mission as president should be singular, that I should work on building a justifiable case for creativity in the world to help people see how artists and designers think. And so that work led to the STEM to STEAM work that I'd led for 3 years at RISD prior. And it was great because we took it all the way to Congress. So if you've ever seen Schoolhouse Rock, I'm just a bill sitting here on Capitol Hill. So it just made it all to Congress, and it was like a great moment, not just for RISD, but for artists and designers. And that was exciting work to do. I began to careers. The reason why I went into the private sector is because I believe that education linked to the private sector can lead to economic development, economic advancement. And so a lot of our work at RISD at the tail end was about how do you get a job doing what you do. And so I was always about making it possible for students to do their own thing. So I love TEDx Wellesley because you guys are amazing. You guys are making a little company. This is how the world works, and how can I connect to more of it became a question. Because I was always questioning this moment. In 2008, going back to when I was doing admissions calls, I was walking by this wall at RISD, and there's a sign. And as a leader of institution, you know, you're the man. And as an artist, you're against the man. So I'm like, oh no, I'm the man now. So I was walking by, because every sign, I'm saying it, even though I didn't say it. It's like someone put up, like, that's John. John said that. I didn't say that. And so this sign, John says, bicycles secured to handrail will be removed. I'm like, I didn't say that. And then someone wrote why. I was like, yeah, why? The bicycle fit, 3 will fit here, you know? And so I began to question that. And the next week I walked by and there was a debate. Why? Why not? People just like ended the debate. And so I was like, that's good, that's good. So as a leader, you wonder about that a lot. And what I've tried to do is understand 2 frames of leadership. Both are very important, the traditional frame and the creative frame. Because a traditional leader is about authority, whereas a creative one is about inspiration, doesn't want to occupy that space. But you have to have both in different times, I realized. A traditional leader is all about yes or no. Give me an answer. But a creative leader will say, maybe, not sure. And maybe is a hard answer to take when you're leading into battle, per se. But if you're not, if you're ready, it's like, yeah, maybe, you know? It can work sometimes. A traditional leader really wants to be right. Look, I'm right, and you're wrong. Whereas a creative leader wants to just be real. Being right isn't important as being real, having integrity. I believe that. And lastly, a traditional leader loves to avoid mistakes because mistakes makes him or her look bad. It's very personal. Whereas a creative leader loves to learn from mistakes. I'm in a mistake. How do I recover? How do I pick this up? What is it? My favorite Mandela quote is, don't judge me by my successes. Judge me by how every time I failed and fell down and picked myself up again. So I have 8 seconds left to tell you that I am proud that I made it through this time. Made it. And I want to thank the TEDx organizers for having me here. Thank you.